So I said I was going to film another video. Mr. Atwood says, that's fine. You need to move the camera so people don't think the kitchen's a mess all the time. And I said, I'm a grown man. I can do what I want. And Mr. Atwood looked at me. So I moved the camera. Okay, so we're going to get to work on this Norseman in a bag project, but we need to learn how to do something first. Yes, brother, we need to learn how to do something first. We need to learn how to sew. So to start off, we're going to go with the simplest, easiest, cheapest thing to do, hand sewing. Okay, so I'm not going to like jump in and like have you cut up pieces and things like that of fabric that you may have limited amounts of. I'm going to show you on some scraps. Doesn't matter what kind of scraps you have. I got scrap pieces from that hood I was working on. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'll show you the steps. And then you can look back at this video for the steps when it comes time for going and doing your sewing. Okay. And then we'll sew one together. Alright. I'm going to have to move the camera here in a second. And that way you can see what I'm doing. And this stuff is pretty high contrast because I got red and then I got white to sew on it with. So bear with me. And yes, we moved the camera because Mr. Atwood said so. Okay. One of the things you can pick up is these little sewing kits. You can get them at Walmart, you can get them at Joann's, Michael's. You can even find them at grocery stores. Okay. Mainly they're just simple little repair kits and stuff. This thing costs a few bucks. Nothing expensive, but it's got everything you might need. Alright. We're going to need the scissors. And then all I've got, everything set up out right now. Big thing you want to look for is one of these. Okay. It's kind of like a dial-a needle. Got a bunch of different sewing needles in there. Dial it over, get the one you need. Pops out. Ta-da. Okay. You can get these individually too for like not even $2. Alright. Pretty simple. These things got other things. Thread, measuring tape, pins. Now, you might need the pins, but if you're not real keen on poking yourself all the time, if you're not sure where the pin is, I like to use these. They hold things together, but they're also convenient for like marking how wide I want my seams to be. Okay, so for this first part, okay, I need to preface this a little bit. All your historical finds of clothing had what's referred to as finished seams. Alright, where everything's tacked down so it doesn't unravel, it's nice and clean. Alright, it wasn't just this haphazard stuff you see in movies where it looks like it's hardly sewn together at all. This is not how it happened. Alright, so your first bit is you got your two sides of your material. Okay, you line up your edges. It's nice and clean like this. Alright. I like to take these folder clips. I'm right on the edge. You actually don't need very many because you can put them a couple inches apart easy. Like you don't even have to put them all that far apart. Or I mean all that close together. This is just to give you an idea. Plus it helps you kind of adjust your fabric as you go. Like if you need it held in place. See? Pretty simple. So this is just a white wool yarn that I've lost the end of. There it is. Don't need a whole lot. Sometimes you might say you just need, then again, half of where you're going, the length you're going to. If it's a short distance, if it's a long distance, it's okay. We'll show you how to, add in and get a new piece. All right. But this is just because it's nice and high contrast. And I've already lost my needle. Can you believe that? I blame it on the cats. But I set the scissors on top of it. Okay. Lots of ways to thread needles. Some of these kits even have needle threaders in them. You just gotta figure it out. It's one of them adult life things. Not too hard though. Alright. First stitch is a running stitch. Running stitch is just because it runs across the fabric. Alright. So you can see here, I'm not very far in. Alright. I'm only not even quite half an inch. Alright. Now this is exaggerated. Show you how to do it. I'm going to actually work down a little lower. So I'll be able to exaggerate all these stitches so you can see what's going on. So here I am, down about an inch. I'm going to poke it down through both sides. Pull it through. Now this is going to be a little trickier because I'm running wool thread through wool. Alright. Now, pull it most of the way through, but not all the way. I want to be able to do a little bit of a back stitch. Basically, you come back where you were, or you can knot it off. It's okay. This part isn't going to be seen. Alright. So, through here. Alright. So if I tug on this, it's not really going to slide through. Right? So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go about the same distance each time. See how you kind of watch it on your needle? There we go. And you can use this bit of material to kind of push on the needle where the end is sharp. Because I'm using thicker stuff, it's a little harder. This is not as hard with regular thread and regular material. Okay? That's just because this is more of a yarn for contrast. You see how it's kind of going like this? Go through here, here. Basically, you're just kind of folding it like an accordion as you run across your material. Okay, use this to back it up. And there you go. Alright. See? Nice running stitch. You'll learn, as you practice, you'll start to space your dips and runs fairly even. As you go, it gets easier. And as you can go, you just pull this off, you move it down. Pull it off, move it down. No big deal. With these, you can find these at Dollar Tree. You get a big old package of them for $1. They'll hold it, you can clip them, you can use them for other things. Okay? So there we go. That's the running stitch. That's the part that holds your pieces together. That's the first stitch. Alright, the rest of this stuff is going to be the finishing stitches. Alright, but this is the basic right here. If you did nothing else, you could do this and you'd be okay. If you're sizing things, you can do like just a simple stitch down just to kind of hold it in place. Don't knot it off or tie it off, and then if it's not quite where you want it, you can pull it out. Okay, what we're gonna do on this one, we're gonna leave it dangly so we can do that. All right, so running stitch. Okay. Now, this is exaggerated. Your seams are going to end up smaller, so you don't have as much on your edges. Alright. Get this here. This is more like doing this. I could do this, without really sticking them together. This is the whole thing's in place for myself. Plus, I'm trying to sew around a camera. Now, I know we sewed closer up here. I'm coming down here on purpose so I can exaggerate these stitches so they're easier for you to see. Alright, so we come in. Now, I'm not knotting this off because I just want to be able to get going. Alright, I'm not going to pull it all the way through. You hear a little noise, squeaky, whirring machine sound. That's my printer printing a nozzle for squeeze bottles for the Force Company. Force Company are water bearers and things in Palantir. They help make sure we don't die. It's great. Alright, so this example, we've moved on. We've got our running stitch. Alright. So, sure, Master Atwood would frown at me that I don't remember the name of the stitch, but for me it's just a tacking stitch. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this part that's above our running stitch in half. This is part of the finish. Okay, it doesn't have to be as good. In fact, it doesn't have to be here, but it helps. Alright, this is where these come in handy, especially when you got thicker material. Kind of holds the material down. So I am not going to put as much in here. This is just to tack it down. Alright, get some more. There's thread here. For what we need it later. Wish the scissors were bigger. Wish fingers worked better. Here. Put the needle again. That's why sometimes if you're it's okay if your thread is longer, because you can just snip it and move on and not have to worry about rethreading your needle. Which makes life easier. Okay. So this tacking stitch, you come in, knot it down. You do have to worry about your thread, your material is thicker. Alright. So we're just gonna tack it lightly. It doesn't have to be great, because for the most part this is going to be hidden, so it's like a longer running stitch. Alright, just your longer bits come through. And it'll be hidden down. You don't have to do this if you have something that will hold this down for you. It just makes it easier. Alright. So what you can kind of do is you can almost like alternate on your running stitch if you wanted. There to there to there. Yeah. And see, it's been held down enough. Take this off. Take that there. Now, if you have you know how to use a sewing machine, or you have someone who knows how to use a sewing machine, this is quick because you can use the different kind of stitches on the machine. It'll hold it down for you. But sewing on a machine is a whole different monster. Okay, there we go. We've got this. Let's fold it over. Okay, it's tacked down. So what we're going to do on the next bit is this will be pulled up here and folded down. Okay. This will end up your finished seam. Alright, once we get it done. So we're going to do this one this way. Well, maybe. Yeah, we'll keep doing it the same way. It's all the same. And this is when I remind myself, be consistent in how you show things. Alright. We're down here. This is exaggerated. Run our stitch across the fabric. Not knotting it off. Stretch it out. Okay, I'm kind of looking to the side and under the camera, so I can it's easier to look at what I'm doing. It actually seems like a little more real, because when I'm watching it through the camera, it's like it's not quite real. Alright, pop these off, hold this down. Now you may say, hey, we're doing 3 stitches for the same length. Yes, you can narrow it down to 2 to finish your seam, but it really doesn't take that long. I mean, I've been sitting here talking to you doing this. You can do this watching TV. Now, doesn't matter which way you go either. Alright. Handedness doesn't matter. You just set yourself up, right-handed or left-handed, whatever works for you. Alright, remember this tacking stitch doesn't have to be the greatest, because it's just holding this down. Comes down. Right. Yes, it is thicker. So you're just coming back through here. Paying attention to what we're doing. Alright. I'll leave it over here, because then this puts this on the right side. Oh, wait. Oh, doesn't. Forgot to turn myself around. Okay. This is where these are. Alright. So we did this. Folded it over. Tacked it down. Now I've got it tacked down. I need to finish the seam. Alright. See how it's folded over and it's like this? It means you're not going to get bits like down here where it can unravel. See if there's anything. Wool doesn't unravel as much as like cotton threads do. It can a bit, but like see, like how that would come across, right? Wool felts itself together, so it holds on better. All right. Now, I'm gonna do our finish stitch. This is different. Okay. So we're all knotted off. Okay. I come over here, poke down through just past it, just along the edge. I'm just gonna go over here and do this. Now what we want to do is come back up through right next to it. See that? That way it's making a small little stitch. Alright. Come up, go down just down the side. Yeah, it's gonna come over here. Come up next to it. Just on the inside, but we're grabbing these. Alright. Over here. Out. Here. See, we're just up in the material there. It goes down, it goes through one, but comes back up through three. Same thing. And this is where you try and make all your stitches relatively even as far as length, and then the distance you come back up through. All right, there you go. If you need to, look on the other side. I've done a lot of mine where I don't look on this side, I look on the other side, because that's the bit where I want it to be neat. I'm trying to show you how it goes. Now, before anybody says, "Oh, Moon, you must have been doing this for a long time." No, Mr. Atwood taught me like last year, and I actually entered a Queen's Prize of having sewn a whole tunic that I put together, hand sewn. Alright. Now I've known how to sew on a sewing machine, because I took home ec. That was more of a thing for like my age. Alright. So here you go. Here's your three. Let me turn it over. Yeah, I got these nice, neat, light stitches. They're there. They don't show up a whole lot. That one's a little bit more, but they're still all right there. Alright, see it? It's still there. It's small. Now you can, if you're really technical with it, you can come over and like say bring them over like 1/8 of an inch and drive it back through 1/8 of an inch. You see how it's all relatively even as I go across? A lot of this is just not, I didn't snug it down a ton. I'll fake it over there. But there you go. That's how you hand sew. Now if you put that together, these 3 steps, running stitch, put your pieces together. The tacking stitch tacks your seam down so that it doesn't unravel. It's going to hold it in place. Alright? And then finish stitch brings it all together and gives it a nice finished look. Now you have a nice seam that isn't going to pull apart. See? See that? I could keep pulling because these aren't tacked down. But you can see what happens. Plus, being nice and exaggerated, it lets you see. Alright? You can do it just like this. It's going to look like this all the time. But that's okay. You could just do these two. It doesn't really do as much. It just holds it down a little. Kind of keeps it from unraveling. But this, nice finished look. Okay? So now, this is how we sew. Alright? We're going to get material. And on this next bit, I'll show you how we go through and we like start to work on our tunic. Okay? We may start with something simpler, like a hood. Either way, hand sewing is not hard. Just takes a little bit of time. And if you're already watching TV or YouTube videos, well, you got something to do. So, all right. Everybody have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.